Hello everybody. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go over something that's pretty important, and it's pretty important for game development period. It doesn't involve actually using a game engine or modeling tools or anything like that. It more or less involves using PowerPoint or something similar to that. And what I'm talking about is a pitch document or a game design document, really depending on how complex or how simple you want to go with it. But when you're designing a game, and not just playing around learning tools and etc., but when you're designing a game, you need a document to reference a bunch of common elements that are going to be in your game. And so to do that, we use a game design document. And now, if you're going to pitch it to someone to finance you and you want to get money from some venture capitalists or something, then you're going to need something called a pitch document. And so the pitch document is usually a little more stripped down version, a little fancier looking, to really sell your point so that you can get that financial backing in order to develop your game. So that's in a nutshell what those two things are. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to switch over here to the screen capture, and I'm just going to show you I have here a pitch document that I've built. I actually like the pitch documents kind of combined with the game design document, and I do it a little bit different than other people, but I found this works for me because I'm not looking for a bunch of venture capitalists, but I also like my layout to look fancy and fit the mood and everything, so that I can refer to it if I'm looking for some style motivation or something to maintain the mood when I'm doing another level or something. So what we've got here is, this is for the Dragon's Fury, and this was actually a document I used for a course I just recently did here from California Art Institute on game design and development, storyboarding, art, etc. The certification program. And I did this as this was my my main assignment for one of the courses. So I thought I would just use it here to show you how important these documents are. So the game's called the Dragon's Fury, and the synopsis is basically a dragon comes in, burns a village down, steals the treasure, and then Baldric McGregor, the main hero here, has to go recover the treasure and defeat the dragon. That's the and then he has to recover the treasure so he can rebuild the village, of course. Anyway, so that's basic synopsis of it. He fights the baby Dracos along the way, picking up treasure that the dragon has dropped as he flew overhead towards his mountain lair. So it sets up all the things that you need in a platformer. You got your little gem pickups, you've got your obstacles, you've got your monsters along the way, and then you got a big boss at the end. So it sets up your classic Donkey Kong, Mario style gameplay, but in a Celtic warrior and mythical dragon scenario. Target audience, of course, it's going to be like who enjoyed playing these types of iconic platform games from Genesis and PlayStation era, and anyone who likes that kind of layout but done with a more modern, more technological play space. Then down here you got your character list, you got your protagonist or your hero, Baldric McGregor, big strong bald guy with a goatee. Wonder where I got the inspiration for that, eh? Then you've got your big fierce dragon that came down, laid waste to the village, stole the treasure. And then you got the baby Dracos, the dragon hatchlings that are wandering out from the lair, and they're collecting shiny things along the way and wreaking havoc as they go. Obstacles for Baldric on his way up to fight the final boss. So you got all three characters. Then you got a breakdown of them: backstory, interests, dragon, backstory, interests, baby Draco, backstory, interests, and in here you put it's hard to find shiny things and likes to wander out and look for their independence, blah blah blah. That's why you'll see them all along the way. Then you need to set up something called a mood board, and just like it says here, visual aesthetic platform combat game. Basically this sets up the feel of the game, and all you do with a mood board is you come up with a whole bunch of artwork that kind of sets the stage, sets the vibe, the feel, and you can refer to it whenever you're working on the game itself, and just to kind of set the stage for what you're looking at. Now these are a bunch of AI generative art images I just threw in some ideas that I wanted for the game, generated like 10 pictures, kept a couple of them, slapped them together in Krita, and made this this slide here for the mood board. So you got your iconically powerful hero, you got the gold coins, they'll be dropped along the way, quiet, sunny, peaceful village, burning village burnt to the ground. This shows a village where you've got to cross through a forest and then go up to the top of the mountain. Then down here, some more forest inspiration. Wasn't really particular to my design or anything, but I needed to put a forest picture in there just to demonstrate the mood board. More treasures that I thought maybe you would add in as pickups or powerful enchanted items that you pick up along the way. I wasn't sure if I was going to work that into the final story or not, but I included it in the mood board because then whenever I saw it, if I was looking for something challenging while I was making the game, I could include it. So it was just, I added it in there. Then dark and powerful caves, a little bit of cramped platformy. Then here's that mountain again, going up to the spired mountain where the dragon's lair is at the top. It didn't really encompass the dragon's lair in there much, but it got the idea of the spired mountain that you got to go up, because there'll be several levels of forest and several levels of mountain and several levels of cave, and then finally you get to the end. You get the ominous dragon, flames and lava shooting around in his final cavern lair. This didn't do a great job of it, but again, generative AI, and I just put a picture in there. It had the colors and the dark foreboding eye in the background, so it did give me some mood towards the game concept. Moving on from the mood board, there's the color palette. Now, there's a lot of tools out there that can give you a color palette, but what I found is what I like the paint swatch, the Pantones, the CMYKs, the RGBs. This particular one, I actually did this one generated in Krita for me, and then I carried them over because Krita's the tool I use. However, you can take a picture and you can go to like Pantone's website or several other of these paint companies, Benjamin Moore, Sherwin Williams, I think it is. And most of them all have a tool where you could take a photograph and you can upload that photograph, and then it will analyze that picture for you and shoot out a grid of palettes of your paint colors, and it'll tell you which ones are in that picture. And then that way, if you're trying to match up to a color in the house, or you want to go with a similar theme or something that'll go good with it, they can actually be suggestions and generate color palettes for you. So that's a great tool too, because you could take a screenshot of your game in progress or whatever, upload that and get your color palette down. And then because they can also add suggestions to it, there might be 3 or 4 colors on there that you didn't use, but you're looking for another color for, say, another little patch of grass or swamp or something. Oh, well, I didn't use this color. I'm going to add that color in my foreground to be a nice lit area of the swamp or whatever. So they can be a very useful tool, but they also help set the mood for potential investors to go, okay, yes, this is the colors that we're working with, and we're going to stick to that theme throughout. And you got a dark, moody theme, you got a bright, sunny theme, you got whatever, right? And you could take this to another step too. You can have like one level this color, but then you can have a whole other area in your game. Like say you're doing an RPG game, and this is your cave level. But then you have another one with a whole bunch of bright greens and stuff or whatever, and that might be your forest level or your plains level. You might have one with a bunch of browns and tans, and that's a desert level, or whites, and it's an Arctic. So anyway, color palettes can be a very useful tool. Not everybody uses them. They can be a hindrance sometimes. However, I found they're just a really good resource so you don't step too far outside the box. So like here, you wouldn't add a bright canary yellow anywhere in there. It would look out of place. But what you might do is add a bit of a yellow mixed with this gold and make your coins that color, a hybrid in between the two, because it still kind of matches up, and you've got something that fits in with the color palette. Anyway, moving on. I don't want to spend too much time there. Useful tool when used right. Other than that, a lot of people they're not going to bother with it. But Storyboard. Now, most people know what a storyboard is. It basically breaks down your scenes into pictures to work your way through them. How this one works out here is the starting cinematic is broken down into several shots. First shot, nice warm day, camera pans over a village. Next shot, dragon swoops in over the village, casts a shadow as it's flying. Camera swoops up, sees this dragon. Next shot, the dragon rakes holy hell on the village, burning it down with its fire breath. Next scene, you see the dragon collecting the gold and flying off into the sky, up towards the mountain. Then it cuts into the gameplay. Camera comes in, you see Baldric leave the village, head up towards the mountain, probably a nice establishing shot, and he disappears into the forest, and that's where it cuts into here. The actual gameplay starts off jumping over boulders and platforms and stuff, navigating through, learning the basics. Then you'll introduce the baby Dracos. You'll have to fight some baby Dracos. And not necessarily the scale here, but more for reference of what he's doing. Dracos will be much smaller, but AI generated art, so you're going to be at the constraints of the best pictures to fit your scene. Then it'll be finding pickups. There's a box there. It'll be like destroying boxes, doing pickups. And then eventually gets to the top of the mountain. Now there'll be also some scenes in here where he's climbing the mountain, a few levels probably. What I would have done is probably move this one to here, done one here where it was up the mountains and he was going over mountain boulders like this with no trees in the background, but maybe this view. That could be this one. Maybe this one is maybe going up to the mountain. He's on a boulder there. And then the next stage would be going into the caves. So you've gone through the forest, you've gone up the transversed your way up to the mountain. Now you're in the going into the cave, jumping over obstacles again in the cave, lava pits and stuff, fighting more baby dragons, baby Dracos. Maybe these ones are a bit tougher and have a little bit of shoot a little tiny fireball at you or something. Then you get to this big cavern, more lava falling and dripping. You have to avoid getting dripped on by lava and stuff as you go through. Then you're in the final round here where you're fighting the monster boss, the big dragon. And then it shows the defeated dragon if you win, dying on the floor, sputtering to the end of his days, cinema shot. Game over, you win the game. So that's pretty much how a storyboard is used, right? It tells the tale as you go through, sets up all the key things that you need to work on and focus on, drive your story from point A to point B, from scene to scene. Then this is a further breakdown. Now this would be more in the game design document rather than the pitch. You're probably done here with the pitch, but in the game design document you're going to add a breakdown of the scenes. So this is cinematic scene, right? Casual Celtic village, dragon flies in, takes it over. Then the journey, next scene, heading through the forest, working his way up the mountains, out through the forest and up the mountainside. Then into the mountain caves is the next scene, and concluding with a battle with the dragon at the end. And then there's the end of your pitch board. Now, if this was a game document, this wouldn't be the end. You'd now have a flow chart you would add in here of the gameplay elements. You would have a breakdown list of how the game is played, listing out the mechanics. Do you use WSAD? Do you use directional gamepad? Do you use both? How are the pickups done? Does he just pick up gold? Can he pick up weapons and get power-ups? Do they have life bars? When he meets the final boss, how does that change? Does the music change over? Etc., etc. You'd be flushing all that out here, and then the end would come after that. But that's in a full game design document. This is just a pitch board. Now, I did do a full game design document. However, I didn't feel like going over all of it here because it was just adding the flow chart and a few other things to it. Not entirely necessary. I think my explanation got it for you. So that should cover that for you. And that's about it. I just wanted to cover that because in any game you make, you should have some sort of documentation or some sort of flow, some sort of a process in order to work your way through the game from beginning to finish, flush everything out, and have some sort of a reference document to make sure you stay on track. And that's what a pitch document or a game design document is all about. So hopefully you could benefit from this. I am adding this into the Godot game list because what I'm going to do, I think, for Godot is I'm going to make this platformer game. So I'm including this in here so you can see what we're referencing, and I'm going to make this platformer game. Although I'm going to make it in more of a Mario style pixel game to demonstrate the process of learning Godot along the way. I thought that it would be good to actually have something for you to reference to as I'm building out the game. So that's what this video is, and it's important everybody knows about this document. So on that note, I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.